Innovation is a strategic necessity, driven by bold thinking and aligned to long-term business value.
Innovation involves reimagine the possibility and require courage and collaborations across the discipline. So innovation to me is actually not about, it's a necessity that we cannot avoid, that we need to do in order to survive.
Empowering women leadership comes from embracing authenticity, courage, and the confidence to lead in one's own way.
I think it's now for our female colleague to embrace our own leadership style, be nurturing, be empathy, be passionate about certain things that drive at your own pace that you are comfortable with, but be courageous to take up and reap the opportunity that come to you.
With increasing complexity in the regional energy landscape, digital agility and integrated data ecosystems are the foundation for future growth.
I always see challenges as opportunities. So the next wave of change or impact we see is more complex ecosystem, more in-depth technologies driven to support the business growth.
From shaping resilient teams to scaling renewable ambitions, we discovered how Sarawak Energy is harnessing innovation, data, and digital leadership to power a more sustainable and agile energy future. Please enjoy this episode from the AIBP ASEAN B2B Growth Podcast.
The AIBP ASEAN B2B Growth Podcast is a series of fireside chats with business leaders in Southeast Asia focused on growth in the region. Topics discussed include business strategy, sales and marketing, enterprise technology, and innovation.
Hello and welcome to our ASEAN B2B Growth Podcast, where we sit down with individuals responsible for driving growth within their organizations here in Southeast Asia. My name is YY and I will be your host for today. Today, we have a very special guest joining us, Madam Sim Kosin, the Chief Digital Officer and Senior Vice President of ICT at Sarawak Energy. Sarawak Energy Berhad is an energy development company and a vertically integrated power utility with a vision to achieve sustainable growth and prosperity for Sarawak by meeting the region's need for reliable and renewable energy and providing electricity to 3 million Sarawakians in urban and rural areas. Without further ado, may I invite Madam Kosin to give us a brief introduction of yourself, perhaps share with us your journey leading up to your current role as a Chief Digital Officer and the Senior Vice President of ICT at Sarawak Energy.
All right. Thank you, YY. It's an honor to be invited to speak with all. Now, my journey, maybe I start with when I graduated. Yeah, I graduated in computer and mathematical science from University of Western Australia. And of course, from there, and later on, I started my work life and later also gained MBA with the Imperial College in London. So I have about 30 years of experience in various ICT functions, mainly serving the energy industry. So from my early days, mainly with the upstream business with Royal Dutch Shell, and later on with the power utility, which I'm serving now. So I started as a programmer, actually, and then a data specialist. I supported various specialized applications in the upstream's exploration and productions portfolio for Shell Malaysia. I have also done a couple of project management on several IT projects, and I'm actually a certified projects professional. In my tenure with Shell, which I spent almost 25 or 20 years, I had 2 overseas assignments which bring me to the Shell Group downstream business as well as a strategy planner in UK. And then I was before I joined Sarawak Energy, I was engaged as a China IM and IT for a new Shell venture supporting some advancement in automation technologies. So as you know, I've joined Sarawak Energy as a vice president for ICT in 2018 and become the chief digital officer in 2021. My current role is mainly to drive Sarawak Energy digital transformation agenda, supporting our company aspirations towards the Sarawak Energy excellence, supported together by the business unit, corporate functions to harness the digital capabilities in progressing our business growth and pursuing the larger things of renewable energies transition.
Thank you very much, Madam Kosin. Well, you know what? I know very much about Sarawak Energy's key pivotal role in Malaysia and also in the ASEAN energy sector. But for international audience who may not be so familiar, do you think you could provide an overview of maybe Sarawak Energy's history and its role in the region's energy sector?
Okay, so today, Sarawak Energies, we are the Malaysian largest renewable energy developer and also Sarawak primary electricity provider. We call ourselves a vertically integrated electricity utilities and an energy development company with strong foundations of 100 years. We like to call our tagline Powering Sarawak Growth. So our operations cover quite a full range of value chain, including mining, coal mining, power generations, transmission distributions, and retailing to the customer, which also involves some export of powers to our neighbouring country. So we are governed under the purview of Sarawak Ministry of Utilities and Telecommunication, as well as the Minister of Energy and Environmental Sustainabilities. So we transitioned our generations mix in the early days, like in 2010, we transitioned from a 90% mainly on thermal, coal, gas, and diesel, into today, which is predominantly renewable hydropower, which is 60% of our renewable energy mix. So hydropower play a central role in Sarawak Energy's transitions. So we own and operate 3 large hydropower dams, mainly Batang Ai, Murum, Bakun. These in combinations have a total value of 3,572 megawatts. And in one that is going to be the 4th one that is still in constructions will be available in 2030s, about another 1,200 megawatts. Internationally, we also exploring a joint development with Indonesia. Our Mentarang Indox also at 1,300 megawatts capacities. So this is basically marking the regional expansions for our company under the Borneo Grid visions. But moving ahead, Sarawak Energy is expected to be the regional renewable powerhouse. For your audience in ASEAN's, we are looking to share our hydropower's resources with our neighboring, including Brunei, Sabah, Singapore, and Peninsula and beyond. So Sarawak aim to increase our generation capacities to 100 gigawatt by 2030s and 15 by 2035, while maintaining the 60% renewable energy mix.
That's an amazing goal. You've talked about how like 90% was thermal energy and then now 60% is a renewable mix, and you're not just supplying for Sarawak itself, but you're a key component of the ASEAN's renewable energy sector. Well, Madam Kosin, you've mentioned that in your role as the Chief Digital Officer, you look at the digital transformation from an end-to-end journey, right? And perhaps your history back at Shell, where you look at both the upstream and downstream, has helped you do this. But I'm curious, what does innovation mean to you personally? And I'm sure with every success, sometimes there's also setbacks, right? How do you measure both the successes and setbacks of innovation initiatives within your organization?
Right. Okay. The worlds are evolving very rapidly, right? Cities are becoming smarter, machines are learning. We know about AI. We talk about AI every day and every minute now. Sustainability is also very essential, and innovation is a necessity. So innovation involves reimagine the possibility and require courage and collaborations across the discipline. So innovation to me is actually not about is a necessity that we cannot avoid, that we need to do in order to survive. So you asked about success and failure, right? How do we talk about successes and setback? Now, as far as I'm concerned, both of these, whether it's a success or a failure of our initiative or attempt, it also provides valuable lesson learned and experience for better future preparedness for us. Our company vision is a sustainable energy future. So we are at the verge of this energy transition, especially in the renewable energy front. This required a very huge scope and collaborated with many parties, to make this transition possible. So it relies on a very collaborative actions by many parties, a lot of fresh perspective and bold idea and technologies that should be seriously considered into our business strategy planning. So of course, some of these efforts need to be monitored and tracked for improvement and ensure value delivery and also operations performance.
Understand, Madam Jose. I think you've definitely talked about like how even when it's setbacks, it does offer valuable lessons, right, that can help to build on to successes. But a further step back, and if I look at like when we look at innovation, right, especially when we are looking at AI, there's always talk about how it is important to manage the risk in order to really push the boundaries when it comes to innovation. Is there some best practices that you would like to share with regards to the approach to managing risk within a digital transformation project?
Right. So to start with, a transformations and innovations project are typically very high risk because it's entail uncertainty, untested ground, unproven concept. So in Sarawak Energies, we actually make sure that the whatever innovations or whatever project we embarking are aligned and to our strategic business value and objective. So we have to closely align those to our long-term goal. So we don't deviate from that because essentially it's trying to achieve the ultimates of meeting the business value. So beside aligning our visions, right, we are looking at they are different chartered, a different scale and scope of innovation. So they are come with a different risk. So it depends. So we have to be very clear when we invest in a digital investment, what kind of risk and exposure we are exploring. You mentioned about AI, and recently we actually take on the AI strategies to our companies. Of course, we know AI is uncharted for many, especially the Gen AI bit. But we have done AI, the classic AI, for a while now. It's not something new to us. So we know how much more we want to invest. So we have to be very clear what kind of return are we expecting. So with that return, how much risk are we willing to mitigate? And we work with our ecosystem partner to try out things that other has done. We are not in the vendor front. We are at the client front. We are the user front. At the user front, usually we are more careful with our selection. So we are very selective in our AI use cases. We need to understand what the value is delivering to us, aligning to our business goal, at the same time building up our competency in-house. Because the reliant on external could also set us back in our progress and in terms of risk. So those are the areas that we are carefully measured against those risks. Having said that, at the larger scale, right, we are talking about the company going full-fledged on digitalization. Then we have to measure out how much efficiency is this capability, the digitalization or AI, the advanced analytics going to bring the value versus the risk exposure of being connected to the world in terms of cyber attack, in terms of data leakage and things like that. Those are the measures we consider, and it's actually one of our enterprise risk management measure as well. Yeah,
understand.
I hope that answers your questions.
That definitely does answer the question. I like how you've mentioned that when you work with solution providers, you see them more as partners in your journey, and you always look at building the digital capabilities of the internal team itself, not just relying on external vendors, right? What you mentioned that stuck with me was talking about the long-term goal. And if I look into history, I think the transformation for Sarawak's digital journey, you have charted it since like 2018, right? And I believe 2025 is actually a very important year. I'll leave you to share with us a little bit more about it. But when you look at this long-term journey that Sarawak Energy has, maybe can you share with us some key lessons during this period as you charted the Sarawak Energy towards its milestone?
Yeah. So talking about it, the digitalization came from the top. Yeah. We have a strong commitment from our leadership all the way to the board. So the leadership has given the focus and drive for our transformations. And we are in the journey, and you mentioned 2025 is a significant milestone. It's because we set our targets where we started in 2017 and 18. Key lesson learned. If I look back, I think, as I mentioned, right, the top down, the strong commitment and clear, compelling objective and purpose why we want to do this is very clear from top down. So the transformation also required people first approach, the change management, the skill and capability development. While we go through these changes, there's a lot of uphill training and build the muscle, and you need to timely reward and recognize your people who come the long way. So I think we did that. We see a lot of change in the way we work through these transformations, especially during the COVID times. You know, during the MCO, no one can go to your counter, no operations can operate normally, and most of our retail, most of our call center need to be operate from home. So those are things that taught us the lessons that digitalization provide us a flexibility and allow us to continue operate. So business continuity, you know, if you look into it. So from there, we started to recognize our people, and then they are being rewarded and recognized. So AIBP is one of them that's seeing that, hey, Sarawak Energy, you have done quite a few good area, you know, in meter reading, you cannot go to the house, and we use some mobile devices to read it. So those are the good recognitions that build confidence to our in-house workforce. And continuous learning is one of the key learning as well, and adaptability is essential. We also benchmark ourselves with our peer and best practices. So we recently got a grant from US TDA, working with EPRI to benchmark our initiative. So are you doing the right thing in smart grid? You should focus more on predictive maintenance, or you should focus more on outage management and things along those lines. Should you integrate your data in what manner? How do you ensure that your environments are secure and resistant? So those are key lesson learned, and strategic partnerships. Strategic partnerships can support us to accelerate and scale faster. We know that we, as an entity, we have limited resources and capabilities. So leveraging on the ecosystem partner is one of our strategic pillar to support us.
Understand. I like how you mentioned that it's so important to recognize the work that the teams have done, right? Because then that gives additional added incentive for them to continue the good work. Well, we've heard from many digital leaders that in 2025, it also comes with it quite a bit of volatility and change in the markets, right? And Southeast Asia needs to work maybe closer together. For Sarawak Energy, do you see any kind of like perhaps future opportunities or challenges, and how are you looking to more effectively address them?
Address as in the change
could be volatility in the global markets, could be volatility in, say, energy sustainability. I think all these are areas that maybe digital leaders would want to see how digital tools can help to have more resilience created for the organization, right? Similar to what you've mentioned about how COVID-19 during the MCO period, where the team was pushed to do more with what they had. Do you see the current maybe more volatility in the markets also creating the same kind of environment that offers opportunity for Sarawak Energy to surge ahead?
Well, there is always this kind of volatilities in the markets, right? And now, especially so, perhaps you can say the geopoliticals as well in play and so on. Now, as far as the business, I think as long as you build in your I call it muscle, right? You have to practice your muscle. So since the pandemic, since the transformations, we have built up a lot of resilience and adaptability and agility in how we operate and how we adopt and embrace change and innovation. So those are the things I think is good. I always see challenges as opportunities. So the next wave of change or impact we see is more complex ecosystem, more in-depth technologies driven to support the business growth. So ICT is no longer like a support functions, but more of the key, I call it the needle mover for the company. So you have to recognize as part of the core skill, core technical competency to allow the company to grow and transform and evolve and adapt and prepare for the future. So critically, digitalization continue to be the central piece for us. We actually need to then evolve into the OT, we call it OT, which is our operational technologies convergent area. We have to have more integrations in terms of data, and data is still an essential part to feel all the information, the insight, and the value, that aggregate, together with various resources that we have, right? From our instruments all the way to our meter reading, to the weather forecast or plant performance metrics, etc. So those are areas that we are interested to go in. And of course, technology continues to evolve. They talk about real-time simulation through digital twin technologies and sensors in the plants, smart sensor, IoT. So those are the area where I see our team in this space, the organization need to cope with and continues to grow and embrace these changes. And be selective. AI, big data analytics, there are so much that dawn on us, but we need to go in with our eyes wide open, as I always said, and cybersecurity investment as well. We continue to collaborate with our research and development team, and then maintain our posture so that we can be agile but yet secure, right? When we move forward. Not sure whether I answer your question.
Definitely. I think when you look at the digital journey that Sarawak Energy has gone through, I believe there were already different periods of volatility, and the idea for digital transformation is to build the agility and the resilience of the organization to better address them while looking into innovation, right? Like you've mentioned, how cybersecurity needs to be put in place in order for the company to embark on this digital transformation even more. Well, if I look into your own personal experience as a leader, how do you define and measure your success as a leader? Are there perhaps specific role models or benchmarks that guide and inspire you?
I think I'm continue to be inspired by many successful individuals. Personally, I'm a strong advocate of collaborations and cross-business teamwork to achieve greater impact through collective contributions. Just beginning of this year, we have successfully migrated S4HANA migrations, involving collaborations of the entire company working towards the same goal, spanned across several years of hard work. That achievement was a great one that we celebrated with our very senior managements, and I can see the team excitement when they were recognized at our year-end town hall by our group chief executive officer to recognize the impact that the work has contributed to the organization. So I believe all this experience will enrich myself as individuals and as my journey, and with my team. I believe a diverse perspective leads to better problem solving, decision making, and I think everyone know that we have this 1 + 1 = 3. So mathematically not correct, right? 1 + 1 doesn't equal to 3. But when the individual work together effectively, they combine the output and it can exceeded the sum of the individual efforts.
Yeah. I can definitely see that.
Yeah. So in Sarawak Energy, we encourage the people to conduct ourselves through a few core values. So 2 of them I picked is one is accountabilities, and the other one, which is to me resonate most to me. When I take on the job, we strive our best in making the decision. The other core value is more unity, as I advocate earlier on about perspective from others, draw the strength from each other. So I believe in that.
Yeah, I can tell that you are a very nurturing leader because you talk about the value of teamwork, the value of giving recognition to your team so they do good work. And I think that's truly a mark of a great leader. Well, you are a rare one in the male-dominated industries, right? When we talk about technology or you talk about energy, it is a predominantly male-dominated environment, right? What would you say to perhaps young women who are also aspiring to leadership roles within these industries?
Right. Well, I've been asked many times because I'm in the energy industry, like you said, is the dominantly not females industry. Now, how it places, I think there's a sweet spot, meaning that we have a very important a role to play in a predominantly male industry, which means you are unique, you are niche, you have very high value to contribute. So I would say advice, my sharing will be believe in our own aspiration, believe in yourself, and stay true to who we are. You don't have to be like a man in order to carry out the work. So I think also, be yourself, be confident, and be persistent in what you believe and perceive what you're doing is,
the right thing to do. So yes, persevere.
You believe. Yeah. When you're passionate, encouraged, and empowered, it tends to have this knock-on effect, right? To the whole team. So, and I'm very thankful to my management as well for my male colleague support in the leaderships on driving the women leadership development. So I think it's now for our female colleague to embrace our own leadership style, be nurturing, be empathy, be passionate about certain things that drive at your own pace that you are comfortable with, but be courageous to take up and reap the opportunity that come to you. No need to shine away. I mean, female generally are more reserved in taking risks. Sometimes we just need to take it on, take on the actions and take the challenge, and when you take the most difficult challenge, and that's when you have the biggest learning opportunities. So anyway, I hope I
that's great advice. Yeah,
so
I definitely feel that what you've mentioned is very true. So it's not about becoming having the male leadership skills, but rather how do you be authentic to yourself? How do you then have the courage, the empathy, the authenticity to lead with passion, right? I think that's something that will resonate very strongly with the young women looking to perhaps also adopt roles like you. Well, coming to the end of today's discussion, Malaysia is this year's ASEAN chair, right? Are there areas within Malaysia or the ASEAN region that you're personally really excited about?
I think there's so many things to be excited. At the verge of all these changes, it poses a lot of opportunities. So it's up to us. How do we want to harvest or benefits from this? Sarawak itself is also positioning as a regional hub for economic growth, particularly in renewable energy, digital economy, sustainability development. So this emerging growth opportunity include the developments of stronger and attracting more investment and more sustainable in our area. I think I just read about from our MDEC minister from Malaysia talking about the first digital first nation. Those are very encouraging. That's going to drive our digital economy and development, right? Promoting more digital transformation, especially people involved in this line, myself and yourself and those that is involved and listening to this. So digital threat, a lot of things going on at the moment. I don't know where to pin on, but I think I'm lucky in that sense that I'm in the digital skill and I'm in the renewable energies expansions arena. I'm actually in the country, in the regions where a lot of promising growth and development. So I think that's where I see. If you ask me where specific technology advancement, there's a lot as well. I mentioned a couple just now, right? Depending on your industry. Like for us, digital twin makes sense. We go all out. OT convergence is essential to transform and modernize our grid operations and our plant generations, etc. Sustainability is also essential to our environment. So we need to be connected with the regulatory body, work with multiple disciplinary, like-minded organization and stakeholder to ensure we drive this transition and capitalize these opportunities. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Madam Kosin. I think you've given us a very rich insight into your role in driving Sarawak Energy towards its digital utility vision and also its sustainability and renewable energy leadership. Thank you very much for your time today, and I hope that we will work more together, especially towards your sustainability energy goals for Southeast Asia. Thank you very much, Madam Kosin.
Thank you, YY. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed the episode. For more information about business growth in the ASEAN region, please visit our website at www.aibp.sg.